Alright, so I need to do this video because I'm out and about right now, but there are some things that I need to discuss about the spiritual battle that took place last night and throughout the night. Okay, so a black man came to me and we were having some discussions. He took me past some schools. They were kind of like libraries. If you ever seen a library, hold on, what's that on mine? They were kind of like libraries, and there was one on each side, and it had windows where children's books were in there, and children's school supplies, and adult books and shelves and stuff, and they were closed down. And he was like, "Do you know what kind of schools those are?" And I was like, no. And we were riding in like a vehicle or something. And I was like, no, but they're, I see the school supplies for the children and stuff, and it's closed down. And so he and I went to his house. And his house was like partly outside, in between these buildings and like a shopping plaza or something. I don't remember much of what the discussion I had with him. But I had a discussion with a young white woman. She was middle-aged, and she had blonde hair in a ponytail, straight blonde hair. And she was in a motel. And she was sitting on a bed, because I'm not trying to get distractions in my video. She was sitting on a bed. And on this bed, she was in a motel, and it was like 2 beds in there, I think. But I know for a fact there was one, a queen size bed, and she was sitting on the bed. And she said to me that a white man had given her AIDS, and she was saying she was saying that she had AIDS. She was skinny, but she wasn't real skinny. She didn't look real like sick. She just looked like she was like in her mid-30s. And she was saying that the white man had given her AIDS. And she was saying all this stuff about white men. She was like, white men are sleeping with everybody, and they are disgusting. She said and a white man gave her AIDS. And she was sitting down in front of me, and I was standing up, and I told her, I said, well, I don't have AIDS. And she was like holding her head down while she was telling me this. And I said, well, I know about some of the things because they're sleeping with black men. And there are some black men that are sleeping with white men. So I kind of understand their sexual deviance, while I was telling her this. And I said, I know about them sleeping with some black men. Or I know about some black men sleeping with white men, basically. But it was more emphasis on the fact that the white men were sleeping with them. And she was saying, after this, she was showing me another white woman. And this white woman was what you would consider a brunette, and she was considered a brunette, but her hair was very dark, and I believe it was like shoulder length. It wasn't really or longer than that, like to here. It wasn't like really long, and she was very skinny at the bottom of her body. And they were saying that she was saying that she was a model, because she was very skinny, and she had a stomach on her, but it wasn't like my belly, like defined from a pregnancy. It was kind of like what do you call it, when you have like a beer belly and it's just rolls. She had like a few rolls, but she did not have like a defined belly as if she were pregnant, because I'm pregnant. So she basically it wasn't that many rolls, but she had some rolls, but at the very bottom of her body she was so skinny. And she was saying that this young woman had also been given AIDS. And so this was very significant for me because she was in a motel and she was living out of a bag. But the young black man had asked me to go to the store to get something for him. So I was like, okay, I have to go to the store and get something for this man because he asked me, could I go to the store for him when we were talking? And I was like, yeah. So I was telling them, I telling the white woman I gotta go, I need to go to the store. And I grabbed a purple umbrella. And then I started heading out of her motel room or hotel room to go to get whatever it was from the store that he asked me to get. So while I was leaving out of this hotel, it was like an extended stay. So if you know, we're like the inside of an extended stay, and there were black people all inside of this extended stay. And when I was coming down the hallway, I saw an older black woman with curly hair and glasses, and she looked like she was much older than myself, and she was coming after me as I was going down the stairs. So they had a stairway, and I was going down the stairway. And while I was going down the stairway, this older black woman stopped me and was like, hey, are you able to stay permanently? And I was like, no, I'm only able to stay temporarily. So it was as if we all were in this extended stay, where it was not an actual home, but somewhere where we were able to rent temporarily. And I was not able to stay permanently as some of the other individuals in the extended stay, but I was able to stay only temporarily for a short period of time. And she was like, oh man, she was like, if there was anything that I could do, I wish that I could help you more. But everybody was in a very poverty stricken place in this extended stay, to where there was black children running around, black people, and there was no real stability for them to be able to be like, hey, I can help you more. So she was like, well, I wish that there was something that I could do, but I'm not really in a position where I can do anything to really help you. And I was like, God bless you. I blessed her. And then I walked off. And I went outside of this extended stay. And it wasn't like it was a real big building or hotel. It was actually like a community stacked on top of each other, like a community. And there were white women who were prostitutes and, things in the building. And it was more so of a spiritual extended stay. And so when I came out of this building, there were dark streets, like a regular street. And someone asked me, do you want to ride? And I was like, yeah, I'll take a ride. So we were riding down the street, and it was in darkness. And then we got to a mall. It looked like a Galleria, like the Galleria where you have very nice stores and things like that. But it wasn't necessarily a mall. It was kind of like a plaza where a lot of white people have businesses and things like that. And there were all different colors of the buildings. And what was significant when we got there was that it went from dark to light. So now it was daytime. And when I went up to this building, he dropped me off. The mail was like, okay, you can get out right here. And it was something about like a cigarette or something, but I wasn't smoking a cigarette at the time. But I think I had one in my hand, and then I got rid of it. And then, so let me back away from this area right now, because it's causing a little bit too much noise right where I am. Causing a little too much noise right there on the bus. This somebody just pulled up. But anyway, so this part is very significant, and I'm gonna raise my voice a little bit because I'm gonna get my message across. So basically, when I got up to, he let me out, and like I had threw a cigarette and I had not lit it. And then when I believe that's what happened. And when I got up to this building, it was like I was going into the mall or some sort of shopping plaza. But when I got there, there were some white women. There was like a blonde white woman with blonde hair. She had a ponytail and blonde hair straight, but she was young. She wasn't like the older one. She was young, as if like she was in her young teenager, like she was 19, 18, 21, 22, or maybe even 25, but she was young. And it was a spirit over it, as if they did not want me to come into the building. Like they didn't want me to come into any of their businesses. They didn't want me to come into any of the shopping plazas. And so I was like, okay, I don't feel comfortable going in because they didn't say anything to me. They didn't even look at me. She had her back turned towards me, but it was a feeling as if we don't want you coming into this establishment, into this mall or whatever. So I turned and was like, okay, I'm going to walk down the street because I don't want to go in there. And as I went this way, so I was going this way toward the building, but then I started going that way. I started walking down the street, and I saw another young woman, and she was black. And all these black women were going into this building where it was like it was attached to the same building as the white people's businesses, but it was a different entrance, and all of the young black women were going through that entrance. And that was specifically a young black woman who had straight hair. She wore black. She was kind of skinny, and she was a little darker brown tone than me. And then there was another black woman, and she had curly, like, you know how you do the wash and go. She had very curly hair that was like dangling to the sides about here, a part down the middle. And she was kind of thick, dark brown skin. Like if you ever seen Lil Wayne's daughter Reginae, she had like a shape like Reginae, but it wasn't Reginae. And they were very beautiful. And I went into this building with them and after some of them. And when I got into this building, it was like, have you guys ever seen a locker room? It was like a locker room where they had beds and cots. So it was like twin size cots, like a twin bed, but they were like the jail cell cots. So you know how they have the little beds in the jail cell, but they were bigger, like twin size, and they were up against each corner of the wall. And there was showers, and there were several young black women in this room, and it looked facilitated, but you did not see any guards. You didn't see any correctional guards or officers or anything like that. And they had came into this building willingly, so they kind of just walked in on their own. There was no one bringing them in there as if they were under arrest. And so while after they had walked into this building, this is why when I saw what the actual building looked like on the inside, and they were laying down on these beds and walking around it as if this were their home. And then I went and laid down on one of the cots or twin beds in the back. And when I laid down there, they were being very mean. They were being very nasty to me. And they were talking amongst themselves. And I had said something to one of the women, and she got really nasty. And then I said something to another one of the young black women to give her some advice, because whatever they were talking about, I had some knowledge to give them about it, and they didn't want to hear what I had to say. And the young black woman was acting like she wanted to fight me. Like she was acting like, you know, if you say something else to me, I'm going to beat you up. And mind you, I'm pregnant, so I'm like, okay, I don't need to be fighting her You know what I'm saying? Because she not finna kill my baby. You know, and so what I said, I still felt the need to say what I needed to say to this young black woman. So she stood up like she was gonna do something to me, and I stood up too. But I did not stand up as if, come on, let's square up, let's bang. You know, I stood up as if I'm leaving. So I picked up my stuff, and I was like, I was incarcerated in the back of the Montgomery County Jail for 10 months for protecting myself. And it was something about me being incarcerated in the back of the Montgomery County Jail in Conroe, Texas for 10 months that was very important and very serious and very, it was very important. It was very serious for me to tell her this. It was something very significant about my incarceration in the back of this jail for 10 months. And I said it in a way as if I know a little bit more than you do about this system. So while you over here trying to talk about you gonna fight me, I got some knowledge for you, because I was incarcerated in the back of the Montgomery County Jail for 10 months for protecting myself. And these women were in there, and I don't know exactly why they were there, but it seemed like they did not have the right to leave. And when I got up, after I said this to her, it was like the Holy Spirit was like, you coming at her this way, but she was only incarcerated for 10 months in the back of the jail for protecting herself. And then I got up and I grabbed my clothing or whatever, my belongings, and then I just walked out of this building. And they all stayed in the building, which was facilitated. I didn't see the guards or whatever. And I walked up out of there. And I didn't have to stay. So I believe that there was some significance on the fact that they were trying to incarcerate me with young black women who actually had committed crimes, because I had protected myself, and that I had the right to leave. I had the right to be released, but I just walked up out of there. You know, it wasn't no one to come and say, here, we releasing you or whatever. I was like, okay, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to like me. You could talk about me all you want, you know, because I'm not going to jail with you, or because I don't have to be in a facility with you behind what I did, because I was protecting myself. And there was also some significance on the fact that I could sing, because when I walked up to when I walked up to the mall, it was something about singing. Before I went into this building with these women, it was something about singing. And there was an emphasis on the fact that when I walked up to the building, it was like people knew I could sing. So before I was trying to go into the mall with the white women or whatever, it was like people knew I could sing. And that there were other singers there, and they were like staging themselves and showcasing their talents. And it was like they did not want me to come around, and they didn't want me to have the ability to showcase my talent in the sing, but I was there to sing. And it was like people knew, oh, she could sing. And then so when I was coming towards this way to go by the black women, they knew I could sing too. And some of them were talented as well and could sing too. And it was like emphasis on the fact that we know she can sing, but we don't want her to be able to sing. Like we want to be the only ones who can sing and showcase their talent. And that they didn't want me to be able to, and that they didn't even want me, that they wanted to like attack me in a facility or something. And then I was released. I was able to just walk away. So this was the first dream that I had, and I've been having 3. So I'm gonna go into the next one.